Have you ever stepped into a sauna, felt that intense heat wash over you, the immediate rush of sweat, and then that profound, almost meditative sense of calm that follows?
Mm.
It feels truly amazing, right? But what's really happening inside your body and mind during that incredible
Yeah,
experience?
what's the science behind that feeling?
Exactly. Today, we're taking a deep dive into the fascinating world of the sauna.
Mm.
Forget what you think you know, because we've gathered, well, quite a stack of
The
sources.
formidable stack, I'd say.
Ah, yes. From scientific papers dating back centuries, believe it or not, to cutting-edge modern neuroscientific studies. We're aiming to truly understand the benefits, the risks, and the unique physiological and psychological journey the sauna offers.
And what truly captures our attention here, I think, is that the sauna is far more than just a hot room. It's actually a complex and remarkably effective system of hydrothermotherapy.
Hydrothermotherapy. Okay.
Yeah. It profoundly alters our physiology, impacting everything from our cardiovascular system to our mental state. So, our mission today is to thoroughly explore these transformations,
Right.
rigorously separate fact from fiction regarding the many, many health claims associated with saunas.
There are a lot of those out there.
Oh, yes. And connect the dots on why this ancient practice continues to captivate and benefit so many people around the globe.
So whether you're a seasoned sauna goer, maybe you have your own ritual, or maybe you're just curious about dipping your toe into the heat.
Or perhaps even a bit skeptical.
Or skeptical,
Uh,
exactly. Get ready for some genuine aha moments. We're going to unpack what these extensive sources tell us about how the sauna impacts everything from your heart to your happiness.
mhm.
And we'll even share a few surprising historical tidbits you might not have encountered before.
Mm.
Okay, so to really understand the sauna, we need to ground ourselves, I think, in its deep historical roots first. And then look at how modern science now defines it as, well, you called it a therapeutic system. It's quite remarkable how far back humanity's curiosity about the sauna's health impacts actually goes. Our sources point to a pioneering Swedish doctor, Anton R. Martin,
Anton R. Martin, yes. All the way back in 1765.
1765.
Wow, can you believe it? He was diligently investigating the effects of saunas back then. That's nearly 3 centuries of sustained scientific interest in this practice.
Long before modern medicine had many of its current tools.
Exactly. And a key finding from our sources is just how enduring and significant this practice has been. It's moved from, traditional wisdom and observation to rigorous empirical data.
So it's not just folklore.
Not at all. It's remarkable how something established so far in the past, like the traditional sauna, remains the subject of cutting-edge scientific research today. This isn't just historical curiosity either. Modern scientific references are extensively exploring this.
Who are some of the key researchers now?
Well, there's a wealth of work from prominent researchers like Hanexella, Lokkanen, Hussein, Marrow, Telebipour, among many others. And this robust, ongoing inquiry is really a testament to the sauna's sustained cultural and, I guess, perceived health significance. It indicates that its benefits aren't merely anecdotal.
Right. They're increasingly backed by solid evidence.
Precisely. This continuous scientific scrutiny, building on centuries of practical experience, truly highlights its staying power and its deep-seated human interest.
That enduring interest really underscores its perceived value. Now, bringing this centuries-old curiosity into the modern era, how do today's scientists, with all their advanced tools, formally define what a sauna is from that therapeutic perspective? It's clearly more than just sitting in a hot room, isn't it?
Indeed. Our sources generally define the sauna as a system of hydrothermotherapy.
Okay, break that down. Hydrothermotherapy.
Right. Hydro relating to water, obviously, and thermo relating to heat. This definition is absolutely crucial because it frames the sauna not merely as a casual recreational activity.
Like just relaxing on a Saturday.
Exactly. It frames it as a structured, intentional therapeutic environment. It implies a systematic application of both heat and, very often, water, think Langley, the steam designed to achieve specific beneficial physiological changes.
So it's a controlled environment.
A controlled environment where these elements work together, creating a profound and desired outcome for the body, rather than just a simple warming up. This structured approach is actually what allows us to study its effects so precisely.
Okay, so it's not simply getting hot, but an integrated system. Temperature and moisture are intentionally leveraged That foundational understanding really sets the stage for us to peel back the layers. Let's examine the incredible choreography happening inside your body the moment you step into that heat. What are those first really dramatic changes your system undergoes? Hashtag tag 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 2, physiological responses to sauna heat. Right, the moment you step into that heated room, your body begins this incredible, almost immediate transformation. And here's where the science gets truly fascinating. You feel that intense warmth instantly, obviously, but what's happening at a cellular, systemic level?
Well, for starters, your skin temperature doesn't just warm up a bit, it rapidly jumps.
How much?
From a normal, comfortable range of around 33 degrees Celsius, it quickly stabilizes at about 40 degrees.
40 degrees C. That's a big jump.
It is, and it can even reach an impressive 44 degrees Celsius in some cases within minutes.
Wow, and that's just the skin. What about internally?
That's a dramatic external change, yes, but it's accompanied by an internal one. Your core body temperature, typically measured rectally for accuracy, can also increase by up to 1 degree Celsius.
Okay, 1 degree. Doesn't sound like a huge amount.
It might not sound like much, but for the body's internal systems, a 1 degree increase in core temperature signifies a profound systemic thermal load. The body works very hard to maintain its core temperature.
So it's a big signal to the body.
A very big signal. And in response to this heat, your respiratory rate increases significantly. You start breathing faster.
Right, you notice that.
Yeah, as your body instinctively works harder to cool itself down and maintain that crucial internal balance, homeostasis. The body's natural cooling mechanisms, like sweating, are powerful, but here's the thing. In the intense heat of a sauna, their capacity can often be exceeded.
Overwhelmed almost.
Essentially, yes, creating a controlled yet significant physiological challenge.
And that brings us directly to sweating, which is, well, far more than just getting a bit damp, isn't it? We're talking about serious output here.
Indeed. Sudation, or sweating, begins very quickly in a sauna and typically reaches its maximum rate after about 15 minutes.
15 minutes in, okay.
And the average output is somewhere between 0.6 to 1 kilogram per hour.
A kilogram of sweat per hour.
Yes, potentially. Now, to put that into perspective, our normal daily water loss through evaporation from the skin is typically only around 0.35 to 0.70 kilograms over an entire day.
Wow. So in an hour in the sauna.
You can lose up to roughly 34 times more water than you would under normal daily conditions.
That's staggering.
It is. This sheer volume of sweat highlights the intensity of your body's effort to regulate temperature, basically dumping excess heat through evaporation. And the fact that these cooling mechanisms can be, as one source puts it, largely exceeded,
Right, overwhelmed.
indicates that the sauna pushes your body to its thermoregulatory limits. It makes it a truly potent, controlled physiological stressor.
Which immediately flags the importance of hydration.
Absolutely critical. This substantial fluid loss immediately underscores the importance of hydration, not just during the sauna, but rigorously before and after, to prevent dehydration-related issues like dizziness, fatigue, that kind of thing.
That's a huge amount of water loss, and it's clear your body is working incredibly hard. All that heat and sweat must trigger a cascade of changes elsewhere, especially within our vital cardiovascular system. What does that mean for our heart and blood vessels?
Yeah, this raises that important question. Why does your heart start to race and your skin get flushed, sometimes really vibrant red?
Yeah, you definitely see that.
It's not just a subjective feeling of being hot. Your body is actively and quite dramatically rewriting a significant portion of your blood flow. Blood flow to the skin can increase massively.
Not much.
From a mere 5–10% of total cardiac output in normal conditions to a staggering 50–70% during a sauna session.
50 to 70% just to the skin.
Just to the skin. Conversely, blood flow to internal organs is temporarily reduced. This massive redistribution prioritizes skin cooling, indicating your body's urgent and profound need to dissipate that heat.
So the heart has to work harder to manage that.
Exactly. To maintain adequate blood pressure and ensure proper perfusion to vital areas under these conditions, your heart rate increases significantly, especially if you're unaccustomed to sauna use. It's essentially an internal cardiovascular workout.
Like passive exercise.
Very much so. What's also notable and less commonly discussed is that blood viscosity, its thickness or resistance to flow, can actually increase by 13% to 40% due to that fluid loss.
Thicker blood.
Temporarily, yes, suggesting potential, albeit transient, implications for circulation. Interestingly, though, the extremities, like your feet and hands, don't experience the same vasodilation or increased sweating. They're less involved in the overall thermal regulation process.
That's quite an intense cardiovascular response, almost like a workout without the physical exertion on the muscles and joints. But beyond these dramatic physical changes, there's that undeniable feel-good factor. People
Yeah.
consistently talk about it, that sense of profound relaxation, even euphoria afterwards. Where does that come from?
Ah, yes, the sauna high. That's precisely where the neuroendocrine system comes into play, creating that deeply satisfying experience. A key finding from our sources is that the sauna stimulates a significant increase in the production of
The
endorphins.
body's natural painkiller.
Exactly, your body's natural opioid system kicking in. Think of it as your internal pharmacy releasing natural pain relievers and powerful mood elevators. It's the same chemical pathway that gives runners their high or brings a sense of calm after intense physical challenge.
But triggered by heat stress instead.
Precisely, triggered by the controlled thermal stress. And this isn't just a fleeting feeling, it's a profound, scientifically measurable shift that contributes directly to that deep sense of relaxation and well-being people describe.
So it's biochemical?
Largely, yes. But beyond the biological, other sources of this profound feeling are also likely psychological. The calm, the pervasive warmth, the often low light, the quiet environment. All these elements combine to invite deep relaxation, creating a truly holistic experience for both body and mind.
A powerful and complex mix of biology and psychology, creating that post-sauna bliss. And it's not a static experience either, is it? Our bodies actually adapt to this thermal challenge over time, becoming more efficient.
That's absolutely right. The body's adaptability is a pivotal theme here. Regular sauna practice actually increases your heat tolerance.
You get used to it.
You do. And it significantly reduces these initial physiological modifications over time. For instance, habitual users sweat more abundantly and more efficiently. They become more adept at thermoregulation and thus experience less physiological strain during a session.
Interesting. So the body learns.
It learns and adapts. What's also important to note, and often misunderstood, is the transient nature of these powerful effects. A few hours after a sauna, its acute cardiovascular effects on the body are no longer detectable.
So the immediate heart rate increase, blood flow changes, they go back to normal quickly.
Relatively quickly, yes. Which means that while the benefits are potent in the moment and contribute to long-term conditioning, it also underscores the need for regular practice to maintain certain adaptive benefits. You can't just do it once and expect lasting change.
Right. Consistency is key. Understanding these sophisticated physiological changes is vital before we delve into who can safely enjoy a sauna and what the potential long-term therapeutic benefits really are. Okay, we've thoroughly explored the remarkable physiological ballet happening inside our bodies during a sauna. Now let's shift our focus to an equally critical aspect: safety. Who can safely enjoy this practice? And just as importantly, where do we need to exercise significant caution? Our sources offer a good deal of reassurance regarding general safety, which is good news.
Yes, a key insight from our sources is that for most healthy individuals, and even those with stable coronary artery disease, sauna use is remarkably well tolerated and safe.
Stable being the key word there.
Absolutely. Stable conditions. The physiological and hormonal changes we've just discussed are transient. They don't cause permanent detrimental alterations.
That's reassuring.
Furthermore, our sources help debunk several common misconceptions. For example, the idea that sauna causes skin dryness, not supported.
Oh, interesting. I've heard that one.
Yeah, it seems it doesn't. It also has only minor and generally inconsequential effects on the pharmacokinetics, how the body processes most oral medications.
So you don't need to worry too much about it interfering with your meds.
Generally not, but always best to check with a doctor for specifics, of course. And importantly, it does not decrease fertility in either men or women.
Another common myth dispelled.
Right. It's also not teratogenic, meaning it doesn't cause birth defects. And in moderation, it's not harmful for healthy, uncomplicated pregnant women.
Okay, healthy and uncomplicated being important qualifiers there.
Crucial qualifiers. These findings provide important reassurance and firmly establish the general safety profile of sauna use under appropriate conditions.
That's incredibly reassuring, especially addressing some long-held worries. What about the extremes of age? The very young and the very old. Do children and the elderly tolerate the sauna environment well?
They generally do, though with proper considerations, naturally. Healthy children accustomed to sauna tolerate it remarkably well.
Accustomed being key.
Yes. In Finland, for example, it's quite common for children to have their very first sauna experience around 4.5 months old.
4.5 months. That's amazing.
Isn't it? With sessions lasting a shorter, more moderate 5 to 10 minutes. Think about that. A baby in a sauna. This isn't just a fascinating cultural anecdote. It powerfully highlights the remarkable adaptability of the human body, even at a very young age.
But with supervision, presumably.
Oh, absolutely. Provided it's done safely and with vigilant adult supervision. Children, because of their larger surface area to weight ratio, experience a heavier thermal load compared to adults. They heat up faster.
Right. So shorter times, less intense heat, maybe.
Exactly. More moderate use and careful monitoring. And on the other end of the spectrum, old age itself is emphatically not a contraindication. Our sources highlight that an impressive 90% of Finns over the age of 90 continue their regular sauna practice without issues.
90% over 90. That's incredible adaptability across the entire human lifespan. Okay, what about those with more serious existing health conditions, particularly coronary patients? This is an area where many people might assume, extreme caution is needed. Stay away.
Yes, and this is a particularly surprising and important finding for many, as it directly challenges those preconceived notions about heat stress and heart conditions. Our sources strongly indicate that sauna use is safe for the vast majority of coronary patients with stable angina or who have previously experienced a myocardial infarction, a heart attack.
Again, stable conditions.
Stable conditions are paramount. In fact, the risks of having another MI, coronary death, or sudden death are actually lower during sauna use than during many other routine daily activities for these individuals.
Lower risk than daily activities. That's counterintuitive.
It seems so, doesn't it? It suggests that for individuals with stable heart conditions, the controlled thermal stress of a sauna, acting somewhat like that passive exercise we mentioned,
Right.
might actually be less risky than certain forms of physical exertion. The beneficial effects on blood pressure and vascular function likely play a key role here.
That really turns some traditional medical thinking on its head. However, it's clear there are still specific situations where caution is absolutely paramount, or where saunas are entirely contraindicated. It's not a blanket recommendation for everyone with heart issues.
Absolutely not. And this raises that important point. While saunas are largely safe and even beneficial for many, they are not without specific risks. Understanding these particular conditions and symptoms is crucial for safe practice.
Such as?
For instance, syncope or fainting is a possibility. This is due to that significant redistribution of blood flow we discussed earlier.
Blood rushing to the skin.
Exactly. As blood is redirected to the periphery to cool the body, blood flow to the brain can temporarily be reduced, potentially leading to dizziness or fainting.
Okay, that makes sense.
Sauna is strictly contraindicated in high-risk pregnancies. Also for individuals with unstable angina, a very recent myocardial infarction, or severe aortic stenosis, that's a significant narrowing of the heart's aortic valve.
So acute or unstable conditions are a no-go.
Definitely. Decompensated heart failure and cardiac arrhythmia are considered relative contraindications, meaning they require careful medical advice and individual assessment.
Got it. Relative, meaning maybe, okay, but maybe not check first.
Precisely. And while certain ECG changes and perfusion defects, suggesting reduced blood flow to the heart muscle, can occur in coronary patients during a sauna, they are notably less frequent than during strenuous exercise.
Less frequent than exercise.
Yeah.
Interesting comparison.
It is. It's also vital to remember that blood pressure can significantly decrease after a sauna session during the cool down phase, which can sometimes lead to syncope as well. So be careful standing up too quickly afterwards.
Good practical tip. And then there's the truly dangerous combination that our sources specifically and unequivocally warn against, one that's rooted in cultural practice but carries severe risks.
Yes, the sources are very, very clear on this. Alcohol consumption during sauna use creates significant health risks and absolutely must be avoided.
No exception.
No exceptions recommended. The rare sauna deaths that do occur are very strongly correlated with alcohol. It can lead to severe problems like falls, accidental injury, or loss of consciousness in the heat.
Makes sense. Alcohol impairs judgment and coordination.
And thermoregulation, your body's ability to handle the heat. Our sources highlight a particularly perilous combination, sometimes colloquially known as the Finnish roulette.
Finnish roulette sounds ominous.
It is. This refers to an extremely hot sauna session combined with intense cold exposure, like plunging into snow or icy water, and alcohol consumption. This triple association is explicitly described as dangerous and a direct cause of serious accidents and fatalities.
So what does this all mean for someone considering that refreshing beer, or maybe a shot after a scorching hot sauna, perhaps followed by a jump in the snow? You see pictures of this kind of thing.
You do, but the sources are incredibly clear. This Finnish roulette is not a harmless tradition, it's a seriously dangerous game. Alcohol is the major culprit here.
Because it magnifies the risks.
Dramatically, it profoundly impairs judgment, coordination, and your body's ability to regulate its own temperature, significantly magnifying the physiological stresses of both the intense heat and the intense cold. It's a combination that drastically increases risk.
Okay, message received. Avoid alcohol and extreme contrasts together. What do the actual mortality statistics show? How risky is it overall?
Well, looking at the stats, while generally low, they do underscore why vigilance is necessary. The mortality rate directly attributed to Finnish saunas is about 2 cases per 100,000 users annually.
2 per 100,000. Seems low.
It is relatively low. When broken down by age, the risk is about 1 per 9 million sessions for those under 40, but it increases to 1 per 400,000 for those over 60.
Okay, age is a factor.
It is. But the important context here is that most deaths occurring in saunas, about 50%, are classified as natural causes and not directly sauna-related, meaning they likely would have occurred regardless of the location.
Right.
However, heat itself is directly responsible for about 25% of deaths, and the remaining quarter are tragically alcohol-related.
So misuse, especially alcohol, is a huge factor.
A huge factor. It clearly points to lifestyle factors and misuse rather than the sauna itself being inherently deadly when used responsibly. To further enhance safety, sources suggest that lying down in the sauna may be better tolerated and safer than sitting upright.
Why is that?
It likely distributes the heat more evenly across the body and might reduce the risk of fainting upon standing.
Okay. Beyond fatalities, which are rare, what kind of non-fatal injuries are most commonly reported in a sauna setting? Things we should be aware of.
Falls are quite common, which can lead to contusions, fractures, and of course, burns from contact with hot surfaces or the stove.
Right. Slips and falls on wet floors.
Exactly. And the mechanism of a steam burn, particularly from loili, that burst of steam when water hits the hot stones, is complex and quite concerning. Steam can penetrate the outer layers of skin much more deeply before it condenses.
Deeper than a dry heat burn.
Potentially, yes, causing burns that might be more severe than they initially appear. This points to the critical importance of a safe physical environment, non-slip floors, stable seating, properly guarded heat sources, as well as user awareness. Recognizing symptoms like fatigue or dizziness early on is key to prevent accidents. These are practical steps that ensure a safe and enjoyable experience.
Good common sense precautions. Hashtag PRCV. Health benefits and therapeutic value. All right, we've covered the intricate physiology and the critical safety aspects. Now let's turn our attention to the really compelling part. The profound health benefits of therapeutic value that regular sauna use seems to offer. Our sources reveal a truly impressive array of advantages, starting with some incredibly significant impacts on cardiovascular and circulatory health.
Yes, this is where the research is particularly strong. One fascinating aspect of the sauna is how it offers that kind of passive exercise for your cardiovascular system.
Right, we touched on that.
It effectively mimics many of the beneficial effects of moderate physical activity, like a brisk walk, but without the same musculoskeletal strain. This is incredibly beneficial, especially for individuals who might have limitations on strenuous exercise.
So what specific benefits do we see?
Well, our sources show that regular sauna use can significantly lower blood pressure in hypertensive patients.
People with high blood pressure.
Yes. Furthermore, it can even increase left ventricular ejection fraction. That's a measure of how efficiently your heart pumps blood in patients suffering from chronic heart failure.
Wow, helping with heart failure.
Yeah.
That's significant.
It is. And it's also important to note that hypertension itself, whether it's treated or untreated, is not considered a contraindication for sauna use as long as it's stable.
So even if you have high blood pressure, it could potentially help, and it's generally safe.
For stable hypertension, yes, the evidence suggests it can be beneficial and is generally safe.
Those are some incredibly powerful claims, almost sounding too good to be true sometimes. How exactly does the sauna achieve these wide-ranging cardiovascular benefits? Lowering blood pressure, helping with heart failure. What are the underlying mechanisms?
Yeah, it's not just one thing. The mechanisms are quite intricate and multifaceted, demonstrating the sauna's comprehensive impact. The cardiovascular benefits seem to be mediated by several factors working together.
Like what?
Firstly, there's that direct reduction in blood pressure we mentioned. Secondly, it leads to improved endothelial function.
The lining of the blood vessels.
Exactly. The endothelium is the delicate inner lining of your blood vessels. When it functions better, vessels can relax and constrict more effectively, which is vital for healthy blood flow and pressure regulation.
Okay, better vessel function.
Thirdly, regular sauna use has been shown to reduce oxidative stress and systemic inflammation throughout the body.
Both major contributors to heart disease, right?
Major contributors, yes. It also seems to offer beneficial modulation of the autonomic nervous system, that's the system controlling involuntary bodily functions like heart rate and blood pressure. It seems to shift it towards a more relaxed parasympathetic state over time,
Calming the nervous system.
essentially. Furthermore, it can lead to an improved lipid profile. Think healthier cholesterol levels, enhanced arterial compliance, making your arteries more flexible and less stiff.
Less stiff arteries, that sounds good.
Definitely. And an overall enhancement of the cardiorespiratory system. It's truly a systemic conditioning effect. It's essentially training your heart and blood vessels to function more efficiently and with greater resilience to stress, much like physical exercise does, but through heat.
That's a really comprehensive picture.
Yeah.
Beyond the heart, do saunas offer therapeutic relief for other chronic conditions, maybe affecting our breathing or our joints?
Yes, the therapeutic scope extends significantly beyond just cardiovascular benefits. Our sources indicate that sauna can improve pulmonary function in patients with obstructive pulmonary disease like asthma or chronic bronchitis.
Helping them breathe easier.
Potentially, yes. It also provides notable relief from pain in rheumatic disease patients, such as those with various forms of arthritis. This is likely due to increased circulation and muscle relaxation induced by the heat.
Okay, pain relief for arthritis sounds very appealing.
It does. However, a specific point highlighted in the sources is that some rheumatic patients might experience what's termed sauna hangover pains the day after.
Sauna hangover, like muscle soreness.
Kind of an achy feeling, yes. But here's a practical insight that connects back to the full sauna ritual. These pains seem preventable by properly cooling down in cold water post-sauna.
Ah, the cold plunge again.
Yes, emphasizing the importance of that hot-cold contrast for the overall therapeutic effect in recovery, potentially mitigating that next-day soreness for some people.
That's a great actionable tip for those who might experience that particular discomfort. Moving on from the purely physical, what about the mental and neurological benefits? The idea of unwinding in a sauna is common, we all know that feeling, but can it impact our long-term brain health?
This is an area with increasingly compelling evidence that goes far beyond just immediate relaxation. Yes, sauna aids profound relaxation and can significantly improve sleep quality, especially for those who have been practicing it regularly for over 10 years.
Better sleep is huge for mental health.
Absolutely. Improved sleep itself is a cornerstone of good mental and physical health. But beyond that immediate calming effect, emerging evidence, as cited in our sources, suggests that regular sauna use may actively reduce the risk of debilitating neurological conditions like dementia and Alzheimer's disease.
Wow. Reduce the risk of dementia and Alzheimer's? That's huge.
It is a profound potential benefit, yes. The studies are observational, showing correlation, but they are quite compelling.
Okay, let's just unpack this for a second. The idea that a regular sauna could not only help you sleep better, particularly as you get older, but even potentially lower your risk of diseases like Alzheimer's, that's a really significant thought. It makes you consider the long-term preventative benefits of this practice.
It really does. It speaks to a deeper connection between our lifestyle choices, like thermal conditioning through sauna use, and our cognitive health and longevity. It suggests a simple, accessible tool, potentially, for maintaining brain vitality over the long term.
And the benefits continue, even touching upon our immune system and certain skin conditions. What do the sources say there?
Yes, although the evidence here is perhaps a bit less robust than for cardiovascular or neurological benefits. While more comprehensive research is still needed to fully quantify the effects, anecdotal evidence and some preliminary scientific findings do suggest that regular sauna use might strengthen the immune system and potentially reduce the probability of common infections like colds.
Okay, so promising, but needs more research.
Exactly. It's an area of active investigation. For skin conditions, the effects are mixed but generally positive for some. Patients with psoriasis, for instance, may find relief from their symptoms.
Why psoriasis?
Likely due to the improved circulation, the heat helping to soften skin scales, and perhaps reduced inflammation. However, those with atopic dermatitis, a type of eczema, might actually experience increased itching due to the sweating.
So sweat can aggravate eczema.
It can for some individuals, yes. It illustrates that the effects can be condition-specific and not universally beneficial for all dermatological issues.
So a potential boost to immunity and relief for some skin conditions, but with a scientific caution about making overgeneralized claims. Got it. Finally, let's talk about this intriguing concept of an artificial fever and the metabolic boost a sauna provides. What's that about?
Right. Our sources clearly highlight that the sauna effectively creates an artificial fever. Now, this isn't your body fighting an infection. It's a controlled systemic stress response induced by the external heat.
Like tricking the body.
In a way. This elevated temperature acts like a gentle alarm, prompting a cascade of beneficial physiological processes. It forces all organs to work slightly harder than usual, similar to how they might during a low-grade fever, but in a controlled environment.
And this boosts metabolism.
Yes, this process fundamentally increases metabolism, which in turn can accelerate cellular repairs, particularly muscular ones, potentially aiding in recovery from physical exertion.
So, good for muscle recovery after a workout.
The evidence suggests it can be helpful, yes. It's akin to how an athlete's body supercompensates after training. The sauna might trigger a similar beneficial adaptive response across many organ systems, enhancing resilience and repair. However, it's important to clarify that this effect, while genuinely beneficial, is not magical.
Not a miracle cure.
Exactly. It's not an instant cure-all for severe conditions or injuries. These remarkable health benefits, though, naturally lead us to explore that deeper mind-body connection, the complex interplay of hormones, sensations, and even psychology within the unique environment of the sauna.
Okay, we've established that the sauna is a powerhouse for physical health, measurable effects on the cardiovascular system, respiratory function, even potentially long-term brain health. But its impact extends far beyond just the body's mechanics, doesn't it? It delves deep into our mental state, our emotions, perhaps even our sense of well-being. Let's start by looking at those fascinating neuroendocrine responses and that profound feeling of euphoria people experience, the sauna high.
Absolutely. The sauna orchestrates a truly fascinating symphony of internal chemistry. It activates several critical physiological systems simultaneously.
Quite fun.
The sympathetic nervous system, that's your body's fight or flight response, getting activated by the heat stress. Then there's the renin-angiotensin-aldosterone system.
Okay, that sounds complex.
It is. It's a complex hormonal pathway primarily responsible for regulating your blood pressure and fluid balance, obviously crucial for managing the fluid loss and circulatory changes happening in a sauna. And finally, the hypothalamus-pituitary-adrenal, or HPA, axis.
The main stress response system.
Your central stress response system, exactly. This comprehensive stimulation leads to significant hormonal changes. We see increases in plasma renin, cortisol often called the stress hormone, but here it's part of a controlled adaptive response and growth hormone level.
Growth hormone increases.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yes. The high temperature also intensifies sympathetic nervous system activity, which in turn boosts norepinephrine production. And get this, the levels are similar to what you'd observe during maximal physical activity.
Like sprinting.
Pretty much, yes. In terms of norepinephrine release, what's particularly interesting and directly linked to that feel-good factor is that increases in ACTH, adrenocorticotropic hormone, and prolactin are significantly correlated with sensations of pleasure.
So specific hormones are linked to feeling good post-sauna.
Directly correlated, according to the research. And importantly, all these profound endocrine changes are brief and entirely reversible. They don't cause permanent detrimental effects.
Good to know.
And to truly seal that sense of well-being, the concentration of beta-endorphin immunoreactive, our body's natural painkillers and mood elevators, also significantly increases.
Endorphins, ACTH, prolactin, quite a cocktail.
It really is.
So to clarify then, that rush of euphoria, that profound sense of calm and well-being after a sauna, it's not just all in your head. It's a measurable symphony of hormones, a powerful natural cocktail making you feel exceptionally good.
That's right. It's like your body is giving itself a powerful, beneficial chemical reset, a deeply ingrained physiological reward for enduring that controlled stressor.
And this profound state of well-being is so significant that I read in the sources, in Japan, they actually have a specific word for it.
Yes, exactly. Some describe a very intense state of euphoria and deep relaxation after sauna practice, which they call totnu. Totnu. What's even more fascinating is that this specific state, the subjective feeling, has actually been objectively measured using neuroscientific methods.
They can measure totnu in the brain.
Apparently so. This scientific validation of a culturally recognized subjective experience highlights the profound, almost spiritual dimension of the sauna for some people. It transcends mere physical relaxation. It also indicates this growing global research interest in the nuanced subjective experiences of sauna users.
That's incredible. A culturally recognized state of bliss that scientists can actually observe. It makes you wonder how we perceive the heat itself. It can be intensely challenging, right? Yet also deeply pleasurable and restorative. What's going on at the sensory level with heat perception?
Yeah, it's true. The sauna isn't just hot. It's a complex sensory symphony, triggering a variety of specialized receptors in your skin. Your skin has three main types of receptors that react to thermal stimuli.
Okay, what are they?
Well, the typical thermoreceptors respond when your skin temperature is between about 30–45 degrees Celsius. They give you the primary sensations of warmth and heat.
Standard heat sensors.
Right. But here's a truly fascinating aha moment from the sources. Some cold receptors actually become active at higher temperatures, specifically between 40–50 degrees Celsius.
Cold receptors reacting to heat.
Exactly, causing what's known as paradoxical cold. This is that sudden, fleeting chill you might feel sometimes, even though you're surrounded by intense heat.
I think I felt that. A weird little shiver.
It's a known phenomenon. And then, above 42–45 degrees Celsius, a different set of pain receptors, nociceptors, kick in.
Ah, the sting.
That's the sting.
Yeah.
It explains that temporary, sharp sensation you might feel from a very hot bench or a burst of intense steam, the lele.
So loyalty actually triggers pain receptors.
Mildly, yes, contributing to the intensity. These thermal sensations travel along specialized nerve pathways, primarily the spinothalamic pathway in your spinal cord, up to the brainstem, midbrain, thalamus, and finally the sensory cortex, where you consciously perceive them. We also have thermal receptors in our internal organs and nervous system too, and it's the hypothalamus, the brain's master thermostat, that integrates all this thermal information to produce the body's overall response.
So if you've ever felt that sudden chill in the heat, that's your paradoxical cold receptors. A truly fascinating quirk. This really deepens our understanding of the sauna experience. It's not just physical, it's this complex interplay of sensory perception. And beyond the biology and the raw sensation, there's a strong psychological, even psychoanalytic layer to the sauna experience discussed in the sources, isn't there?
Absolutely. Our sources truly define the sauna as a holistic experience. Physical, psychological, and profoundly social, with effects that are often difficult to define objectively and are, in many ways, largely unconscious.
Unconscious effects.
Meaning, we might not always be aware of why it feels so good or why it affects us so deeply. It's seen as a dedicated sanctuary, a sort of sacred space to relax deeply, to clear one's mind, and to immerse oneself fully in the heat and the resultant satisfaction.
A place to escape daily worries.
Exactly. A place to temporarily forget daily worries and indulge in quiet thoughts, reflections, even creative fantasies. The very act of concentrating intensely on immediate sensations, the all-encompassing heat, the rhythmic sounds of the stove crackling, the earthy smells of wood or maybe essential oils, the tangible feel of sweat flowing down your skin makes it profoundly conducive to mindfulness meditation.
Focusing on the present moment.
Precisely. Some sources even draw parallels, seeing the sauna as being close to art and dreams, capable of fostering a beneficial regression for the ego, providing an integral psychical and somatic experience. It's almost considered a form of white magic for inducing well-being and happiness.
White magic. That's a powerful and almost spiritual interpretation. Reframing the sauna as more than just a hot room. It's a deliberate space for deep introspection, psychological renewal, maybe even an artistic experience. And culturally, the sauna holds an exceptionally unique and profound position, especially in places like Finland.
Oh, absolutely. What's truly fascinating here is how the sauna transforms into more than just a physical space. It acts as a social and cultural crucible. Our sources suggest it fosters a powerful sense of egalitarianism.
How so?
Well, when everyone's stripped down to basics, social hierarchies tend to momentarily dissolve. It creates an atmosphere of optimism, positivity, and openness. This unique environment makes it a surprisingly suitable setting for important discussions, even political or diplomatic decision-making.
Diplomats in a sauna. Really?
It's happened. It's viewed as a neutral, innocent, uncorrupted place where barriers naturally come down. On a different note, the practice traditionally emphasizes intellectualizing any sexual presence, reducing it to a pleasant sensual tension, rather than encouraging open sexual practice, especially commercial, which is seen as destructive to the traditional pure sauna experience.
Interesting cultural nuance.
And while competitive sauna pushing heat limits to dangerous extremes is largely prescribed today due to its dangers, it's acknowledged that for some, historically perhaps, it might have served as a psychological outlet for violence.
Wow, that's dark.
It is. There can even be underlying sadomasochistic pleasure and self-punitive aspects within the practice for some individuals, according to psychoanalytic interpretations. It highlights the vast range of human psychological engagement with intense heat.
It's incredible how many layers of meaning, from the diplomatic to the deeply personal and even subconscious, are packed into this single practice. It even ties into national identity and broader philosophical reflections on happiness and human nature.
Indeed. From a philosophical standpoint, the sauna is sometimes viewed as an Epicurean activity, a deliberate, mindful pursuit of pleasure and tranquility through moderation. It's seen as a profound way to truly reunite body and soul.
Mind-body connector.
Exactly. Acting as a mild palliative drug for the daily problems and anxieties of modern life. It's not about escaping reality entirely, but about stepping into a controlled, beneficial space where you can process it. For some, it becomes a healthy, almost narcissistic practice for self-centering, a vital time to invest in your own well-being and inner balance.
Self-care, essentially.
A form of self-care, yes. And while our sources acknowledge that sauna addiction does exist, it's generally framed as a benign behavioral disorder, more like a strong, positive habit rather than a harmful dependency.
Okay, and culturally.
Culturally, especially in Finland, a Finn who expresses a dislike for sauna might be seen as quite strange, potentially even having their masculinity questioned if male, leading to a subtle but real social pressure.
Wow. Social pressure to sauna.
It exists. Our sources also note that there can be power dynamics and a reminiscence of patriarchy within the traditional sauna context historically. And finally, a compelling connection often drawn. Finland's consistent ranking as the happiest country in the world is sometimes directly linked to its pervasive and culturally central sauna practice.
A link between saunas and national happiness. Interesting hypothesis.
Yeah.
Okay, from these deep psychological impacts, let's now shift gears slightly and clear up some common myths surrounding what sweat and saunas actually do for our bodies, particularly around detox. All right, now that we've explored the sauna's profound mind-body connection, let's address an area that seems rife with misinformation. With all this talk of intense sweating and heat, there are a lot of enduring myths out there, especially around concepts like detoxification and rapid weight loss. But before we tackle those directly, let's truly appreciate the incredible organ that's doing most of the work here, our skin. Okay, let's unpack this. Before we delve into the details of sweat, let's take a moment to marvel at the sheer complexity and vital role of the skin itself.
It's worth appreciating, absolutely.
It's not just a wrapper for our bodies, is it? It's a living, dynamic shield, a sophisticated temperature regulator, even a vitamin factory, constantly adapting and protecting us from the outside world.
That's an excellent point. The human skin is far more than a simple outer layer. It's a full-fledged organ. Truly the first line of defense for our bodies, crucial for a multitude of vital functions.
And it's huge.
It holds the distinction of being the body's largest organ, covering an impressive 1.5 to 2 square meters in adults. Its thickness varies greatly, from a delicate 0.5 millimeter on the eyelids to a robust 4 millimeters on the heels.
Wow, that's quite a range.
Structurally, it comprises 3 main layers. The epidermis, the outermost, is primarily made of keratinocytes and the protein keratin, providing essential resistance and impermeability. Beneath that, the dermis, rich in collagen and elastin for elasticity and strength, housing critical structures like hair follicles, sebaceous glands, sweat glands, and a dense network of nerve endings. And finally, the hypodermis, composed mainly of adipose tissue, which serves as both thermal insulation and an energy storage depot.
A complex, multi-layered system.
Very much so. And it's a remarkably sensitive organ, with its normal comfort temperature lying within a surprisingly narrow range, around 32-34 degrees Celsius. Discomfort begins quite quickly if temperatures drop below about 32 or rise above 34.
And its comfort zone. A surprisingly narrow 32 to 34 degrees Celsius. So with that incredible organ in mind, let's get into the truth about sweat itself and what it actually accomplishes for our bodies. There are some persistent myths here.
Yes, starting with how we lose heat. Sweating is indeed a key vital function of thermal regulation, our body's primary mechanism to cool down. Our eccrine sweat glands, widespread across the body, produce sweat primarily water and mineral salts, specifically for cooling through evaporation.
Right. Evaporation cools the skin.
Exactly. Now, there's a widespread and persistent myth that the body loses most heat from the head.
I've definitely heard that. Wear a hat in winter.
Right. But it's false. It actually originated from misinterpreted U.S. Army experiments in the 1970s involving soldiers whose bodies, but not heads, were protected in extremely cold weather. So naturally, the head was where most heat escaped in that specific setup.
Flawed experiment interpretation.
Precisely. In reality, the vast majority, about 90% of heat loss, occurs via the skin broadly across the entire body, primarily through radiation, evaporation, and convection. The head isn't singularly special in heat loss under normal conditions.
That's a common misconception debunked right there. Okay, but the biggest myth surrounding sweat, especially in the context of saunas, is undoubtedly about detoxification, the idea that we're sweating out harmful toxins. How much truth is there to that popular belief?
Yeah, this raises that important question we hear all the time, sweating out toxins. How much truth is there from a scientific standpoint? Our sources are quite clear and consistent on this. The benefit of purification, or detoxification by sweating, is highly exaggerated and frankly lacks serious scientific justification.
Highly exaggerated. Okay.
It's crucial to understand that your liver and kidneys are the only organs truly equipped and designed for the complex processes of getting rid of the vast majority of toxins and metabolic waste products from your body. They are the detox powerhouses.
Not the skin. Not sweat glands.
Not primarily, no. While sweat does contain water, minerals, lactate, and urea, and it can indeed excrete some heavy metals, sometimes even more efficiently than the kidneys for specific compounds like cadmium or lead.
Oh, interesting. So it does excrete some things.
It does excrete some things, yes, but this action is likely quite modest in the grand scheme of overall detoxification. It's a very minor pathway compared to the liver and kidneys. It's also worth noting that sweat generated during intense sports appears to be more effective for heavy metal elimination than the passive sweat induced by just sitting in a sauna.
Okay, so exercise sweat might be slightly different.
Potentially more effective for that specific purpose, yes. But any miracle detoxification claims, whether about sauna or anything else, are usually sensational and unsubstantiated by rigorous scientific evidence. Thinking of sweat as your third kidney is a nice idea.
But not really accurate.
Not really accurate. The scientific evidence suggests its detox role is quite minor compared to the vital functions of your liver and kidneys.
That's a crucial distinction, clarifying a very prevalent health myth. Okay, another extremely common belief, particularly when people think of saunas, is that they are somehow a shortcut to weight loss. You sweat off the pounds. Is that accurate?
Not in the way most people hope or imagine it. Sauna use does cause significant sweating, as we discussed, leading to a rapid loss of body mass on the scale typically between 0.6 to 1 kilogram per hour.
So the scale goes down?
The scale goes down, yes. But this is merely water loss that must be quickly replenished for your body to function properly. You need to drink that water back.
So it's temporary.
Entirely temporary. It's fundamentally not true weight loss, meaning the loss of fat tissue, and it's therefore ineffective for serious long-term weight reduction or for things like rapid weight cutting before sports competitions, where athletes try to dehydrate to make a specific weight class. It's just a transient fluid shift, not a change in body composition.
So it's just a temporary trick of the scale, not a sustainable weight loss strategy. Got it.
Yeah.
What about using a sauna for athletic purposes, like for warm-up? Or as a specific training method for competing in the heat? Are there benefits there?
Our sources indicate that, contrary to some popular beliefs, sauna is generally not considered a particularly good warm-up method for sports activities. Active warm-ups are much better.
Okay, not for warming up.
Nor is it an effective training strategy for actually competing in hot environments. Intensive active training, sometimes with impermeable clothing to induce sweating during exercise, is generally a more effective approach for heat acclimatization.
So train hot, don't just sit hot.
Essentially, yes. Furthermore, using a sauna is generally not recommended immediately before sports competitions.
Why not?
Due to the potential for fatigue, dehydration, and significant electrolyte loss, all of which can negatively impact performance just when you need to be at your peak. And just to be clear, it certainly does not treat sports-related hematomas or deep bruises. Heat is generally not advised for acute injuries like that.
Right, usually ice for those.
Yeah.
So while beneficial for recovery after exercise perhaps, its role in immediate performance enhancement seems limited or even detrimental.
That seems to be the consensus.
Okay, let's unpack this other one.
Right.
Those trendy salt saunas. You see them advertised, rooms lined with Himalayan salt blocks, or the idea that the steam creates negative ions that are supposedly super beneficial.
Ah, yes, the salt caves and negative ions.
What's the science there? Do they offer extra benefits?
Well, while they might feel great and the ambience can be very relaxing, our sources indicate that the scientific evidence to back up the specific health claims about salt blocks emitting beneficial negative ions or negative ions from steam having major health effects is pretty thin.
Thin evidence.
Very thin, yes. The concept of salt saunas, with salt blocks supposedly emitting beneficial negative ions, largely lacks rigorous scientific evidence to support those specific health claims. The entire subject of negative ions and sauna benefits is quite controversial. One study showed no significant effect. Another general review study on negative ions concluded that there's only weak therapeutic evidence overall, though, importantly, it noted no harmful effects either.
So probably not harmful, but maybe not uniquely beneficial either.
That seems to be the case. Early beliefs that traditional wood stoves produced more beneficial negative ions are thus also not strongly supported by current data. It's a good reminder, I think, to separate the enjoyable sensory experience from unverified health claims. Appreciate the relaxation without necessarily buying into the extra hype.
Right. Stick to the known benefits of heat therapy itself. So if sweat isn't magical detoxifying agents, what is it really made of? Can you give us a clear picture of its composition?
Sure, sweat is primarily water, comprising about 99% of its volume. But it's not just water. It also contains various dissolved substances.
What?
Mineral salts, primarily sodium, potassium, and chloride, but also smaller amounts of proteins, lactate, a byproduct of metabolism, and urea, a waste product. Its exact mineral composition can vary significantly from person to person.
Depends on the individual.
Yes, and also depends on several factors. An individual's level of heat acclimatization, the intensity of any accompanying exercise, the duration of sweating, and the specific minerals available in the body's reserves at that time. Human sweat is characterized as hyposmotic and hypotonic, meaning it has a lower concentration of dissolved particles compared to blood plasma. Its composition is perfectly designed for its primary role, efficient evaporative cooling.
Okay. And what about the smell? We often associate sweat, especially after intense heat or exercise, with body odor. And sometimes it can be quite unpleasant. What's the science behind that? Is the sweat itself smelly?
Another common misconception. What's truly fascinating here is that, contrary to popular belief, sweat itself is inherently odorless.
Odorless, really?
Completely odorless when it leaves the glands. The smell we associate with body odor is actually produced by the diligent work of our skin microbiota, the vast community of bacteria that live naturally on our skin.
So it's the bacteria.
It's the bacteria-degrading substances released by our sudoriferous, or sweat, glands. We have two main types of sweat glands. Icran glands, which are widespread and produce the watery sweat for cooling, and apocrine glands.
Apocrine glands, where are they?
They appear mainly at adolescence and are concentrated in the armpits and genital regions. The sweat from apocrine glands is richer in fats and proteins.
Food for bacteria.
Exactly. A delicious feast for specific types of bacteria, particularly Corynebacterium species. These bacteria metabolize these compounds and produce those volatile, often unpleasant fatty acids like hexanoic acid or caproic acid, which can smell distinctly like cheese or even goat.
Okay. Cheese or goat. Noted.
Ugh. Yes. But here's an aha moment. Far from being just a source of odor, sweat also plays a vital role in keeping our skin clean.
How does it clean the skin?
It emulsifies sebaceous fats, the natural oils on our skin, much more effectively than water alone. This process helps lift away dirt and aids in skin cleaning and the elimination of bacteria.
So sweat helps wash away bacteria.
In a way, yes, by helping to remove the oils they live in. So seeing sweat as undesirable in modern society, something to be constantly fought against with antiperspirants, might actually be, as one source puts it, an error of analysis from a biological perspective. It serves important functions.
That's a mind-blowing perspective. Sweat isn't the problem for body odor. It's the feast it provides for our skin bacteria, and it actually helps cleanse our skin. It truly reframes how we think about sweat from something we try to hide to a crucial component of our body's defense and cleansing system.
Yeah.
Now, all this incredible physiological activity, this internal workout we've discussed, it does have a lingering effect on many people. That feeling of pleasant fatigue after a sauna. What's the science behind that post-sauna tiredness?
Yeah, that feeling of fatigue felt after a sauna session, which many describe as a deep, pleasant tiredness, can primarily be attributed to intracellular dehydration.
Dehydration at the cellular level.
Exactly. Given the significant fluid loss we discussed earlier, potentially up to a kilogram an hour, your body's cells are temporarily depleted of water. This is a direct physiological consequence of the body's intense effort to thermoregulate.
Which again reinforces the importance of rehydration.
Absolutely. Thorough rehydration is paramount, not just for overall well-being, but specifically to mitigate that post-sauna tiredness and allow your cells to fully recover and continue their repair processes. Now that we've debunked some common myths and gained a deeper understanding of the core science of sweat, let's broaden our view to different types of saunas and other related practices that either complement or contrast the traditional sauna experience. #7 types of saunas and other related practices.
Right. Now that we've cleared up some myths and embraced the true science of sweat and skin, let's broaden our view to the diverse world of saunas and related thermal practices. You might have seen different types advertised. Infrared saunas seem particularly popular these days, often presented as a modern alternative to the classic hot rock sauna. What exactly is the fundamental difference between them?
That's an important distinction to understand. The core difference between an infrared sauna and a classic sauna lies in how the heat is delivered and, consequently, how it's absorbed by the body.
How does infrared work?
Infrared saunas use radiant panels that emit specific wavelengths of infrared radiation, typically in the long wavelength range, around 10 micrometers, which is often classified as far or medium infrared.
And that penetrates differently.
Yes. This specific wavelength has the capacity to penetrate biological tissues more deeply. The sources suggest about 3 to 4 centimeters compared to the classic thermal radiation in a traditional sauna. Traditional saunas primarily heat the air around you, and that hot air then heats your skin, only penetrating the outer few millimeters. Infrared heats you more directly and deeply.
So you might have heard of infrared saunas and wondered if they're definitively better than the classic kind. The key difference is that deeper heat penetration. But what's really interesting is that despite these differences in how the heat gets into your body, science hasn't definitively said one type is superior for your health overall.
That's correct. There's currently no scientific consensus on which type is broadly superior for health outcomes.
So the benefits might stem more from the overall heat stress response.
It suggests that many of the observed benefits might indeed stem from the overall thermal stress and the body's physiological response to being heated, regardless of the precise delivery method. It seems to be about the deep heating effect and the body's reaction to it, rather than one technology being inherently better than the other across the board.
Okay, so choose based on preference, maybe. Not necessarily proven superior benefit.
Exactly. The current lack of scientific consensus on superiority is crucial for consumers, helping to avoid potentially biased marketing claims and encouraging appreciation for the unique qualities and feel of each experience. Beyond just the type of heat source, many sauna traditions incorporate other elements to enhance the experience, like the practice of using vitas or vastas.
Ah, yes, the leafy branches. Sometimes called flagellation, which sounds quite intense, even a little painful. What exactly is that practice, and what's its purpose within the sauna ritual?
Flagellation definitely sounds more aggressive than it typically is in practice. It refers to the custom of gently striking or whisking the skin with bundles of fresh aromatic tree branches, usually birch, known as vitas or vastas, in Finnish and surrounding regions.
So it's not meant to hurt.
No, it isn't punitive. Instead, it serves a beneficial purpose. It increases local skin blood circulation through mild stimulation, acting as a gentle massage and perhaps even an exfoliant. It adds a mechanical and sensory dimension to the sauna experience.
Simulating the skin beyond just the heat.
Precisely, enhancing the effects of the heat and stimulating the skin further. Historically, it's worth noting an interesting hygiene point. Sharing these bundles was consciously avoided due to the perceived risk of transmitting diseases.
Makes sense in a communal setting.
A practical consideration from the past that remains relevant even today.
That's a fascinating detail, adding that tactile element to the heat. And speaking of the full sauna ritual, the cold component is almost as famous and integral as the heat itself, isn't it? The plunge into cold water or snow. What role does that abrupt contrast play?
The cold component is, in fact, considered a critical part of the overall hydrothermotherapy system. Cold exposure following a sauna session has physiological effects that are largely the inverse of those caused by the heat vasoconstriction instead of dilation, for example.
The body reacting to the cold shock.
Exactly. This abrupt hot-cold alternation, which is so typical of traditional sauna practice, particularly in Nordic countries, can be profoundly beneficial for various things. It's often cited for joint pain relief or accelerated muscle recovery for athletes.
Like contrast therapy.
Precisely. This is the principle behind practices known widely now as cold water immersion or contrast water therapy. While the precise underlying mechanisms for all these benefits still require more extensive study, the positive effects are consistently observed anecdotally and in some research.
And what happens physiologically during that cold plunge after the heat?
Well, after the significant vasodilation caused by the heat, your blood pressure will typically increase quite sharply upon cooling after a sauna. This is a key physiological response to the sudden vasoconstriction caused by the cold hitting your skin. This dynamic interplay of hot and cold acts as a powerful vascular workout, training your blood vessels.
So it's not just about the heat alone, but the dynamic interplay of these temperature extremes that truly delivers the full therapeutic effect for some benefits.
Yeah.
This sounds almost like cryotherapy, but in reverse, with heat leading the charge instead of extreme cold.
It's a great comparison. Cryotherapy represents the opposite extreme of thermal stimuli, yet it's explored for very similar therapeutic goals, particularly in sports medicine. Instead of a hot sauna, whole-body cryotherapy chambers are used.
How cold do those get?
Individuals might spend a short duration, typically just 2 to 3 minutes, at incredibly low temperatures, often ranging from minus 110 degrees Celsius to minus 140 degrees Celsius.
Minus 140? Wow.
It's extreme. This connection emphasizes a broader truth, that extreme thermal stimuli, whether hot like a sauna or intensely cold like cryotherapy, are both being actively explored for their therapeutic benefits. It suggests a remarkable physiological resilience and adaptive capacity of the human body to manage and even thrive under these controlled thermal stressors.
It's amazing how ancient wisdom, often based on instinct and observation across cultures, often aligns so closely with modern scientific exploration, even centuries later.
Absolutely. The enduring belief in the healing power of heat and sweat stretches back millennia, transcending cultures. Take Ayurveda, for instance, which is considered the oldest known medical document, dating back potentially to 568 BC. It explicitly considers heat and sweat important for health and well-being.
Ayurveda, the science of life.
Exactly, that's what it means in Sanskrit. And this belief wasn't merely ancient tradition confined to history books. Our sources note that in places like East Germany, during certain periods, the sauna was even prescribed medically by doctors.
Prescribed like medicine.
Yes, recognized for its therapeutic value by formal healthcare systems. This rich historical and cultural context reinforces the enduring belief in the therapeutic power of heat and sweat across diverse civilizations and medical systems. It demonstrates that humanity has instinctively recognized and utilized these benefits for an incredibly long time. As we've seen, the sauna offers this rich tapestry of experiences and benefits, but it's always important to keep in mind the potential risks and best practices for safe enjoyment as we conclude. Conclusion and provocative thought. So if we try to connect all these threads, our deep dive today has truly revealed that the sauna is far more than just, a hot room or a simple recreational activity.
It's more complex.
Much more. It really stands as a scientifically validated hydrothermotherapy system. It offers tangible and profound cardiovascular, neurological, and psychological benefits. And in exploring this, we've also challenged many common, long-held myths about detoxification, about weight loss, even about its role in pre-workout preparation. It's clear it's a potentially powerful tool for holistic well-being, but only when it's understood and used correctly.
And what does this all mean for you, our listener? Whether you're a seasoned enthusiast or just sauna curious? Well, the evidence clearly shows that for the vast majority of healthy people, and even for many folks with stable underlying conditions, the sauna is generally a safe and immensely beneficial practice. But crucially, it's not without its specific risks. We have to emphasize that, particularly when combined with alcohol, or when pushing the body to dangerous extremes in practices like that Finnish roulette.
Moderation and awareness are key.
Exactly. Moderation, awareness of your body's signals, and adherence to safety guidelines are absolutely key to unlocking its full potential without exposing yourself to unnecessary danger.
Which leads to, I think, an important final question for us all to consider. Given the sauna's profound and multi-layered impact on our physiology, its documented capacity to induce states of intense euphoria and deep calm, like that Tutunu phenomenon,
Right.
and considering its incredibly deep cultural roots spanning millennia, could this ancient practice be a powerful yet still underestimated tool? A tool for promoting not just physical health, but a truly holistic sense of well-being, mindfulness, and even connection in our increasingly fast-paced and often disconnected modern world.
A tool for connection. How so?
Well, traditionally, it was often a communal activity fostering openness. Perhaps the sauna isn't just about escaping the cold, or even just about the physical benefits we've discussed. Maybe it's about finding a deeper warmth within ourselves, both literally and metaphorically. A warmth that genuinely contributes to a longer, healthier, and perhaps even happier life.
That's a really nice thought, a deeper warmth. So the next time you consider stepping into a sauna or maybe trying one for the first time, remember this deep dive. You not only understand the fascinating science behind that incredible feeling, but you also hopefully appreciate the profound, even philosophical layers of an experience that has captivated humanity for centuries. What stands out most to you about how the sauna so uniquely integrates mind, body, and even society? Something to think about.